Now, let us understand about meetings of shareholders or general body meetings. Need for meetings. Unlike a natural person, a company is unable to think and express its will or make a decision except through resolutions passed at properly convened meetings of its members. They must act collectively. The affairs of a company are conducted by two main organs: members or shareholders in general meeting and directors acting as board. Nowadays, it's common practice to confer on the directors the right to exercise all the company's powers, subject to certain exceptions in the relation to holding of general meeting. Section 179 empowers the board of directors to manage the affairs of the company. In such circumstances, holding of meetings of members and of directors become indispensable. So, why is there a need to hold meetings? There is a need to hold meetings because the people should be knowing what is going on in the company, and every decision which is required to be taken has to be collectively taken by all the shareholders of the company. Next, annual general meeting. In annual general meeting, shareholders get the opportunity to exercise their powers of control. Holding of an annual general meeting is mandatory. Such meeting should be held in every calendar year. This is the statutory requirement. Calendar year is to be calculated from 1st January to 31st December and not 12 months from the date of incorporation of the company. So it shall be held in every calendar year, and this is the statutory requirement. Statutory means compulsory requirement of the company, and it is to be calculated from 1st January to 31st December and not 12 months from the date of incorporation. Object and importance of annual general meeting. One of the objects of an annual general meeting is to protect the interests of the shareholders. This is an opportunity for the shareholders to exercise their control over the affairs of the company. Hence, it would be better if these members meet at least once every year to review the working of the company. Appointments of auditors are made at the annual general meeting. Annual accounts are required to be presented before the shareholders at the annual general meeting. Dividends are also declared at such a meeting. Retirement and re-election of the directors take place at the annual general meeting. This meeting is the forum where shareholders can express their views before the management and even ask for certain clarifications about the matters which may have not been convinced them. So, what is the object of taking such a meeting? The only object behind taking such a meeting is to bring the people to the notice that what has to be done, and they have to review review all the things which are to be carried forward, then audit their accounts, then check over the statements, that is financial position of the company. Then in the general meeting they have to express their views, whether what has to be done, new things to be introduced in the meeting, and all the things which are required. Then next we have annual general meeting, section 96. Every company other than one-person company shall in each year hold, in addition to the other meetings, a general meeting as its annual general meeting, and shall specify the meeting as such in the notices calling it. And not more than 15 months shall elapse between the date of one annual general meeting of a company and that of the next, provided that in case of the first annual general meeting it shall be held within a period of 9 months from the date of closing of the first financial year of the company, and in other case within a period of 6 months from the date of closing of the financial year. Provided further that if a company holds its first annual general meeting as aforesaid, it shall not be necessary for the company to hold any annual general meeting in the year of its incorporation. Provided also that the registrar may for any special reason extend the time within which any annual general meeting other than the first annual general meeting shall be held by a period not exceeding 3 months. So these are the provisions related to the annual general meeting, in which it is stated that it shall be held within a period of 9 months from the date of closing of the financial year, and in other case within a period of 6 months. Then it is also further stated that it is necessary for the company to hold annual general in a year of its incorporation. Then second, every annual general meeting shall be called during business hours. So it is very important to take the meetings during the business hours of the company. That is between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on any day that is not a national holiday and shall be held either at the registered office of the company or at some other place within the city, town or village in which the registered office of the company is situated, provided that annual general meeting of an unlisted company may be held at any place in India if consent is given in writing or by electronic mode by all the members in advance, provided that the central government may exempt any company from the provisions of this subsection subject to such conditions as it may impose. Explanation: for the purposes of this subsection, national holiday means it and includes a day declared as national holiday by the central government. Power of the tribunal to call annual general meeting. If any default is made in holding the annual general meeting of a company under section 96, the tribunal may notwithstanding anything contained in this section or the articles of the company on the application of any member of the company shall or direct the calling of an annual general meeting of the company and give such ancillary or consequential directions as the tribunal thinks expedient. Provided that such directions may include a direction that one member of the company present in person or by proxy shall be deemed to constitute a meeting. A general meeting held in pursuance of section 1 shall be subject to any directions of the tribunal be deemed to be an annual general meeting of the company under this act. So, the power of the tribunal to call annual general meeting. In case the tribunal feels that the company's functioning is not going properly, or in case there is some problem, or in case company has done any default in complying with the sections of section 96 of the act, then in that case the tribunal shall have the power to go and call a meeting of the company within their limits. Power of the tribunal to call meetings of members, etc. Section 98. If for any reason it is impracticable to call a meeting of company other than annual general meeting in any manner in which meetings of the company would be called or to be held or conduct the meeting of the company in the manner prescribed by this act or articles of the company, the tribunal may either suo motu or on application of any director or member of the company who would be entitled to vote at the meeting, order the meeting of the company to be called, held and conducted in such a manner as the tribunal thinks fit, and give ancillary or consequential directions as the tribunal thinks expedient, including directions modifying or supplementing in relation to the calling, holding and conducting of the meeting. The operation of the provisions of this act or articles of the company, provided that such directions may include a direction that one member of the company present in person or by proxy shall be deemed to constitute a meeting. Any meeting called, held and conducted in accordance with any other order made under subsection 1 shall for all purposes be deemed to be a meeting of the company duly called, held and conducted. So, these are the provisions for calling any general meeting by the board. Then next we have penalty for default in holding AGM under section 96 and 97. Now, punishment for default in complying with the provisions of section 96 and 96 to 98, section 99. If any default is made in holding of the meeting in accordance with section 96 or 97 or 98 or in complying with any directions of the tribunal, the company and every officer of the company who is in default shall be punishable with a fine which may extend to rupees 1 lakh, or and in case of a continuing default with a further fine which may extend to rupees 5,000 for every day during which such default continues. Cancelling or postponing of convened meeting. In a case Rajpal Singh versus State of UP 1968, Justice Satish Chandra observed that the board has the power to postpone or cancel a meeting, a notice of which has already been given, and however, even power cannot be exercised except for bona fide and proper reasons. It is possible to cancel a general meeting properly convened. There is no specific provisions on this issue in the Act. However, Secretarial Standard SS4 issued by Institute of Company Secretaries of India ICSI contains a view on this issue. The standard states that if for reasons beyond the control of the board, a meeting cannot be held on the date originally fixed, the board may defer the meeting. In such a case, the meeting should be reconvened after giving not less than 7 days fresh notice published in a newspaper having a wide circulation within such states of India where more than 1000 members reside. This statement makes it clear that a meeting duly convened cannot be cancelled but can be deferred for overriding reasons. In such case, it would be advisable for the board to fix a fresh date for or not for far from the date originally fixed and issues to the members and other eligible to receive notice a fresh notice or holding the meeting. This notice should contain information that the originally fixed meeting had to be deferred for reasons beyond the control of the board. It is necessary for a listed company to inform SEBI about the deferment and the fresh date of meeting. In the above provision, it is stated that the directors may hold meeting at any place other than registered office within the town, city or village in which the registered office of the company is situated. However, if such discretionary power must be exercised bona fide in the interest of the shareholders and not to create any kind of inconvenience to them for attending the meeting. If annual accounts are not ready, at the annual general meeting, the company can adjourn the said AGM and any suitable date on which the said annual general meeting accounts are expected to be ready, as the consideration of annual accounts is only one of the matters to be dealt with at an AGM. There is statutory obligation on the directors to hold a meeting. The proper course shall be to hold the meeting and adjourn it to a suitable date for considering the accounts depth of company affairs communique dated 2nd Feb 1974. So, in case if the accounts are not ready of the company, then the company can adjourn the AGM, but which shall be conducted immediately after a certain period of time to be given to the company for preparing. Then business is to be transacted at the AGM. The business to be transacted at the AGM at an annual general meeting may be either special or ordinary. Ordinary business, the business relating to the following may be called as ordinary business. The consideration of the accounts, balance sheets and the reports of the board of directors and auditors. The declaration of a dividend, the appointment of directors in the place of those retiring and the appointment of auditors and fixation of their remuneration. Special business. All other business scheduled to be transacted at the annual general meeting shall be deemed to be special business. Besides this, in the case of any other meeting, all the business shall be deemed special. Where any items of business to be transacted at the meeting are deemed to be special, as aforesaid, there shall be a annex to the notice. So, businesses which are transacted shall be related to the ordinary business, and in ordinary business it shall include accounts, balance sheets and reports of the board of directors and auditors. Then there shall be a declaration of a dividend. Then the appointment of directors in the place of those retiring and the appointment of auditors and fixation of remuneration. Any other business which is transacted shall be called as special business under this Act. The meeting statement setting out all material facts concerning each such item of business, including in particular the nature of the concern or interest of any therein of every director and the manager of, if any. Section 1022. Explanatory statement. Section 102. The Act provides for additional disclosures to be provided to the shareholders. Example, in case of non-cash transactions, valuation of registered valuer is required to be provided. Hence, in addition to Section 102, the companies will have to refer to other relevant provisions for determining the disclosures in explanatory statement. Statements to be annexed to notice. Statement setting out the following material facts concerning each item of special business to be transacted at a general meeting shall be annexed to the notice calling such meeting, namely the nature of concern or interest, financial or otherwise, if any, in respect of each items of every director and a manager, if any, every other managerial personnel and relatives of the directors or KMPs, any other information and facts that may enable members to understand the meaning, scope and implications of the items of business to and to take decisions thereon. Then section 20, service of documents. A document may be served on a company or an officer thereof by sending it to the company or to the officers at the registered office of the company by registered post or by speed post or by courier service or by leaving it at its registered office or by means of such electronic or other modes as may be prescribed, provided that where securities are held with the depository, the records of the beneficial ownership may be served by such depository on the company by means of electronic or other mode, save as provided in this act or the rules made thereunder for filing of the documents with registrar in electronic mode. A document may be served on registrar or any member by sending it to him by post or by registered post or by speed post or by courier or by delivering at his office or address, or by such electronic or other mode as may be prescribed, provided that a member may request for delivery of any document through a particular mode for which he shall pay such fees as may be determined by the company in its annual general meeting. Explanation: for the purpose of this section, the term courier means a person or agency who delivers the documents and provides proof of its delivery. So, this is how the delivery or this is how the documents may be sent to the respective person who is associated. Now next let us understand about extraordinary general meeting, section 169 and the meaning. The annual general meeting of a company may be called as an ordinary meeting. Therefore, any other general meeting except annual general meeting is called as extraordinary general meeting. Regulation 42 of Table F provides all general meetings other than annual general meetings shall be called extraordinary general meetings. It has been already discussed at an annual general meeting is required to be concluded once in every year. However, so far as an extraordinary meeting is concerned, it can be called at any time when the matter to be discussed is urgent and cannot wait till the next annual general meeting. In short, it is a general meeting of a company which is held between two consecutive annual general meetings for transacting special or urgent business. Example, shifting of registered office of the company or removal of directors, etc. Business to be transacted. Ordinary and special business can be transacted at the general meeting. But in extraordinary meetings, whatever business is to be transacted is called as special business. It may include an alteration in the memorandum or articles, removal of a director, reorganization of share capital, issue of debentures, issue of rights, shares, increase in the remuneration of managing director, whole-time director, etc. Who may call it the extraordinary general meeting. The extraordinary general meeting may be called by any one of the following: the board of directors, the requisitionist, and the tribunal. Extraordinary general meeting called by the board of directors on its own. The board of directors has the right to call an extraordinary general meeting by giving and not less than 21 days notice. A meeting may be called by giving shorter notice as discussed in the context of annual general meeting in section 101. However, such shorter notice that is less than 21 days may be valid if the consent of the members of the company holding 95% or more of the voting rights have been accorded. Section 101. According to Regulation 43, 1 Table F, the board may, whenever it thinks fit, call an extraordinary general meeting. If at any time majority of the directors are not within India and the quorum at the board could not be formed, any director or any two members of the company may call an extraordinary general meeting in the same manner as nearly as possible that in which such a meeting may be called by the board. So, if a extraordinary general meeting is called on its own, then in that case, 21 days clear notice is not required, and whatever has to be discussed in the meeting shall be sent priorly. Then next, so if there is a consent of 95% or more members, that is 95% holding of members or more, then in that case also it can be done. Then next is on the requisition of members. The board of directors is under an obligation to call an extraordinary general meeting of the company if the number of members specified as under makes the requisition, provided that an extraordinary general meeting of the company other than of the wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India shall be held at a place within India. The number of members entitled to requisition a meeting shall be in the case of a company having a share capital holders of at least 10% of the paid up capital of the company as that carries the right of voting in regard to the that matter. Section 102A. In the case of a company not having a share capital must having at least 10% of the total voting power at the said date, right to vote in regard to that manner. Section 102B. The requisition shall set out the members, set out the matters for the consideration of which the meeting is to be called and shall be signed by the requisition and shall be deposited at the registered office of the company. The requisition may consist of several documents in like forms, each signed by requisitionist. The business to be transacted by the EOGM is a special business and hence every item mentioned in the agenda should be accompanied by an extraordinary statement in to be annexed as notice as contemplated under section 102 of the Act. However, the requisitionists are not bound to attach the explanatory statement to the requisition. Here on receipt of the requisition, the board of directors will have to include in the notice convening the meeting the necessary explanatory statement. Where two or more distinct matters are specified in requisition, the validity of each such matter will be determined independently before calling the meeting. So, in case the meeting is being called by the requisition, that is on the request, in that case, the director is under an obligation to call an extraordinary general meeting, and in that, if the meeting is to be held, it shall be having a share capital or holders at least 10% of the paid up share capital who are ready to come for the meeting. Then second case is case of company not having share capital but having at least 10% of total voting rights. So those people who are not having voting rights but at least having 10% of the voting right shall be registered at and are eligible to call such a meeting. So with this we have understood. Now in the next class we shall be understanding about extraordinary meeting called by the requisitioners themselves. If they call it by themselves, what all are the provisions? We shall understand it in the next class.